Hey kids, Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Now, if you're a Panigale owner, you'll know that one of the things that all Panigales suffer from, not just the 899 like I've got, but the original 1199, the later 1299s, and all variants thereof, the 9592, one of the things that they suffer from is a great amount of heat from under the seat, partly because of the way that the exhaust is kind of folded up underneath the seat before it exits, and that is something that people, particularly in hot countries, complain about. Now here in the UK, not so much of an issue, because actually in the winter it's quite nice to keep you toasted, but in the summer you can feel a bit warm around the backside. So there is now an answer to this, or hopefully there's an answer, and that's what this video is all about, because today what I'm going to do is install this. This is a Panigale Heat Shield, so stick around, stay tuned, I'll tell you what it's all about and show you how it's done. So whenever there's a video of me and I'm wearing the overalls, you know that something serious is going to happen. If you've watched many of my videos here in the garage before, you'll know that when it comes to things technical, I'm not a great expert. I'll only take on things that I think are doable. And in the case of this heat shield fitting, I'm told it's very, very simple. But it does involve things like lifting the fuel tank, which, to be honest with you, and you may be amazed at this, I've never done that on a bike before. So that's going to be a first for me. You know, there's quite a lot of stuff to take off the bike before you can actually start fitting the heat shield. So without further ado, before I get started proper on the install, I'll just show you what's involved in the kit itself and tell you a bit about that. I'll just bring the camera over to the bench and we'll go through that. Okay, so welcome back to the workbench. So this is the Panigale Heat Shield kit. Now, I don't know if you remember, but some time ago, probably about a year or so ago now, I did a video about the throttle spacer kit that you can install on the Panigale. It's a little bit of, basically it's a little piece of plastic that you install in the throttle housing that just stops a little bit of play and basically makes the Panigale that much easier to ride at slow speeds. I was very pleased with that install and it's made a hell of a difference to the way my bike rides. So that's a great little bit of kit. I'll put a link at the end of the video so you can see that if you've not seen it so far. But the reason why I mention that is because this, the Panigale Heat Shield kit, is made by the same people that did that. And so that's where it's come from. You order them online. They're made in the US. And basically what they consist of is this. So there's a comprehensive instruction booklet with lots of pictures, which is what makes me think I can probably do this, although there are an awful lot of steps, 24 in fact in total, including things, as I say, like lifting the fuel tank and so on. Now, numpty that I am, I've actually recently filled the bike up with fuel, so first job that I'm going to have to do is actually siphon the fuel out of the tank, so that in itself might be fun. And then the kit itself comes with all these parts, with this very specially coated, I guess it's some sort of carbon fibre material with a sticky back and then a shiny front. So obviously this reflects the heat off. If I can just show you a bit. So there's some pretty complicated sort of laser cut, die cut pieces here that have been made specially for the Panigale, obviously, and it fits all variants, I think, but certainly it's made for all variants, so you can specify that when you order one. But that's what they look like, sticky back. All you've basically got to do is get them on the right bits of the bike, and it should cut down on the heat. Now, on the website for the Panigale Heat Shield, it actually shows you this thermal image to show you the before and after. So as you can see from this, it's claiming about a 10-degree drop in heat, you know, around where your backside is on the seat. But also from the thermal image, you can see there is definitely a cut down of the heat emanating from the bike once the kit is installed. So that's what I'm aiming for. Obviously, I probably won't actually feel that difference or know much difference until I've ridden it through the summer, and I'm recording this just at the start of winter. So, so it may be a while before I know exactly how successful this has been. But depending on how difficult it is to install, at least you know, it can't do any harm, can it? Okay, so let's crack on then. What can possibly go wrong? So before I can actually get cracking with the install, what I've got to do with the Panigale is just disable the tracker. I have trackers installed on all my bikes. They're from a company called Bike Track. Used to be part of Road Angel. The thing is, one of the features of them, if I move the bike without it having the ignition on, it'll actually set an alarm off at a call centre, and I get a phone call saying that my bike's been moved without me knowing about it. So I can just go into, I'm not going to show you this on the phone for kind of obvious reasons, but I'm just into an app here, and I can actually go into what's called servicing mode on my Panigale. There we go. And it's now set into servicing mode, which means I can move the bike around as I wish, and I won't get called by the call centre. They won't think the bike's been stolen. I've just got to remember to turn that back on when I've finished. Oh, one last thing before I get cracking proper on this, I promise you I will get going with it in a minute, is what tools and things do you need to do this? Well, in my case, as I mentioned, unfortunately, I've just filled the bike up with fuel, so it's got pretty much a full tank of fuel in. So first thing I've got to do is empty the tank, because it's going to be very difficult to lift the tank otherwise, and it mentions that several times in here, so I'm not intending to try and lift the tank with it full. So I've got some fuel cans. I've got 3 of these, I think these are 5-litre fuel cans, sorry. 3 of those, so I can get at least 15 litres of fuel out of the bike. I've purchased from the local hardware store one of these, which is a siphon pump, so that's to get the petrol out. Whenever you're messed about with petrol in the garage, particularly with lovely paintwork that you don't want to damage or anything else, then I've got some of Mrs. Fly's favourite beach towels. I'm just going to wrap those around the bike just to make sure there's no spills, or if there are, it won't go on the bike, it'll just go on her towels, and then she can quickly wash them when she's doing my smalls later. So that's that. And then for the actual install itself, according to this manual, what you need is a few things. 3mm and 4mm hex bits, well, they're pretty, you know, I've got those, I'm sure. 8mm hex socket, flathead screwdriver, and a rigid block about 6 inches in height for propping up the fuel tank. So doesn't sound too complicated need for tools there. Right, I'll assemble that lot then. Let's get cracking. Okay then, so it's siphon time in my case. It's better if you just run the bike out to start with, but I kind of forgot to. So let's have a look in there. Oh, actually, it's not quite as bad as I thought. It's not too much fuel in there. Probably about half a tank, something like that. Don't know. Anyway, let's just put the Mrs. towels around just in case of any spillage. I'll try not to, but I know through bitter experience that if you don't take these sort of precautions, you end up regretting it. So, okay, shouldn't get any spillage problems there. And don't know how many of these I'm going to need looking in there. And I have to say, I've never used one of these siphon pumps either. So this cost me about £1.99 from the local hardware store. It's got a little valve type arrangement in it. I was just going to buy some tube and do the old, but thought this might be better. Okay, so let's see what this does then. Right, that's in place. Stick that in there. Let's get pumping. Come on. Oh, here we go, here we go. Now we're running on gas. Love a bit of science, don't you? Excellent, so that's the first 5 litre can filled, and I'll just put that straight back in when we're done. Let's have a go with this one. Panigale tank is obviously a lot deeper than you think. It's this stem goes quite a way back down below here. Right, it's feeling like that's probably about it now. Excellent. Alrighty, good stuff. Okay, that's the tank drained. Alright, so as I say, I'll just stick the petrol back in when I'm done, and hopefully that'll just make the whole job that much easier. Alright then, phase 1 complete. Back to Mrs. Fly, she'll never know. Okay, to the instruction book then, which is always a good thing to use. So, number 1, assemble the tools. Done that too. Bask in the beauty of your motorcycle for at least several minutes. It's beautiful, isn't it? Okay, done that. Ensure that the fuel tank is empty. Yep, done that. Using a 3mm hex bit, remove the single screw at the front of the seat. Okay, looks like remove the seat. How hard can that be? Right, 3mm hex bit. Do you know, I don't think I've ever had the seat off here. How exciting to see what it is, what it's like underneath. There we go. Seat off. Ooh, nice. Okay, stage 6. Using the 3mm hex bit, remove the 2 outer screws from the front fuel tank rim. Okay, down the front here. Got it. Be careful not to drop them down into the bodywork. Ask me how I know. Okay, that's obviously a tricky bit here then. So there's two screws here to come off. I'll just show you those. Just going to close that because it's annoying me, no end. Not lose the key. And then the screws it's talking about are these 2 outer ones. There's one here and there's one on the other side. So just have a go at cracking that off. Same bit, not very tight, has to be said. And I will pay heed to the instructions. And try not to drop them down the inside of the bodywork. That would be disastrous. Safely retrieved. And the same on this side. Bingo. And now before I get too carried away removing screws, what I've done here, just stuck a bit of masking tape on here. I'm just putting those screws here. So these are screws from front of tank. And also that was stage 6. I'm going to put right 6 there as well. So I know those screws I took off at stage 6, so there's no confusing what screws what when I come back to put it back together again. Just a little tip for you. Right, next up, number 7, using the 4mm hex bit, remove the 2 inner screws from the front fuel tank ring. Okay, okay, looks fairly obvious. Right, these 2 puppies here then coming off, same procedure as before. And they're a little bit tighter. 1. 1, 2. Okay, looks like that lift's clear as well. Okay, just pop those there, circle them, and write a 7 in there, so there's no doubt where they're from. Inner front fuel tank. Okay, next, that was 7, 8, remove the front fuel tank trim. Well, ahead of the game, done that. 9, use 4mm hex bit, remove the large screw at the rear of the fuel tank bracket. All right, let's do that. Right, 4mm hex bit in there. Right, store that safely. Okay, stage 10, using the 8mm hex socket, remove the 2 nuts on either side of the fuel rack. Do not lose the small metal washers beneath these nuts. Okay. Sounds like somebody that's had some pain doing this. There you go. Again, not on there particularly tight. I can see the washers they're talking about. I won't take that fully off just yet. There you go. And off comes that. Oh, there are the washers back. There we go. Washers underneath. Bingo. Okay, next up, remove the fuel tank bracket and set it aside with its matching hardware. Done that. Number 12, disconnect the metal grounding tab on the left side of the fuel tank. Oh, that's just here, this little tab here. Come on. There we go. That's the grounding tab. I'll just tape that out of the way so I don't lose it. Tape. Just stick that down there so it doesn't get in the way or fall inside the bodywork. Okay, next bit sounds a bit frightening. Section 13, lift the fuel tank slightly and bend the plastic tab to disconnect the electrical connector. A second set of hands is useful for this step. Oh, okay, so that probably means a second set of hands is definitely needed, but I'll give it a try on my own, see what happens, what comes after that. Lift the tank up and place your prop to hold it in position. Alrighty, okay, let's see then. So I'm going to lift this up and lift the fuel tank slightly and bend the plastic tab to disconnect the electrical connector. Let's see if all becomes clear. So here's the tank, washing my fingers. There we go. There's the electrical connector. Bend the tab, probably means that one there. There we go. Oh yeah, that's not hard, is it? Excellent. All right, that's done. And then we prop that up in position. This is where I need the other set of hands, because what we've done with my prop. Stand by. Try not to chop anything. Right, now it asks for a wooden block 6 inches high to put under there. I haven't got a wooden block, so what I've done is pinched Mrs. Flyer's exercise weight thing. So I'm just going to lift that up there. And we've got plenty of clearance there. Stick that somewhere like that. Hopefully that's enough. Woohoo! Blimey, it looks like I know what I'm doing. Right, stage 15. Using the flathead screwdriver, pop out the 2 plastic pins securing the tail fairing. Okay, it looks like this thing here, and there's another one here. So that, according to that, just needs popping out. Makes it sound easy, doesn't it? Let's see if that's possible. Come on, pop out. There we go. That one's popped. And the same this side. Get rid of that. Come on. Popped and dropped inside the bike. How annoying. I hate it when this happens. Oh, there it is. Bingo, keep that safe. Okay, stage 16. Locate these 2 matching 4mm screws on either side of the bike near the rear cylinder. 1, 2. I can see them just over here, no problem. Right, so these are the next screws. There's one there, and then there's one here that's got to come off. Can you see that just there? And there's 2 the other side as well, so the next one's to come off. Right, just whip these out then. Oh, there's 4 of these, so I won't bore you by having you watch me do all 4. Again, being uber careful not to drop them inside the bike. Right, I've got 3 of those out, but this one here is a bit difficult to get at using the little wrench. So I've resorted to a normal Allen key which means you can just get that in there, you see. In fact, it helps if I do it the right way, of course. There we go. And then that's all 4 out. Okay, so stage 19, using 3mm hex bit, remove the screw just above the exhaust heat shield on either side of the fairing, which is, there's one here and there's one there. So let's take those out. In you go. One, and there's a little plastic washer on there as well to not be lost. Same on the other side. Come on, there you come. There she blows. Okay, so that's stage 19, heat shield, fairing. Right, stage 20, start removing the engine and subframe covers on the right side. Uh-oh, this looks a bit complicated. Got to take these off. They will come off as a single piece. Start the rear, pull the tail outwards, show, remove the rear part of the cover. Be careful not to break the slot at the bottom of the cover. There's a metal tab that extends from the frame. Let's go and try that. All right, so it's this piece here that's got to come off, and it's kind of, it looks like it comes off a single unit, and it's interwoven with this bit here, so just got to be careful not to break any tabs or anything. I hate this sort of thing. Okay, let's give it a try. Oh, be careful, front part of the cover, not break the slot at the bottom cover. Slot. Okay, so this is here to here. If I can do that. Yeah, this is definitely the trickiest bit so far. Got to think about this a bit. Right, well, I've had to scratch my head a bit and have a little think about this, because the idea here is I'm going to take these engine covers off either side, because they're the bits that we want to put the lining in, the heat-resistant lining in. That's the whole point. But these just didn't seem as if they're going to want to come free. So what I've actually done is, what wasn't in the instructions, was undo another 4 fairing screws, which are underneath the back here, as well as the front one. It's just made that a little bit looser there, which means that hopefully I can fiddle this out here. I'll just move the camera and show you the problem here. We've got a number of tabs that are kind of interwoven, and it just makes a different one to get it out. And goodness knows how it's going to go back on again. I suspect that's even harder, but let me just show you what I'm talking about. So I don't know if you can see, but this is the bit that's in question. This is the panel that I want to come out, and you can see, look, we've got this part here, this bit of the fairing is sort of tucked over the top, that's underneath, and then there's a metal bracket, plus there's a bit under here that's kind of twisted in as well. So it's quite a complicated way of getting that on there. So it's one thing kind of pulling it off and trying not to break anything. It's going to be something else entirely to get that back on, and then of course you've got the same on the other side. So this is definitely the trickiest bit, I think. These sort of conundrums are the things that I hate about this sort of jobs. It's just, you know, they seem quite straightforward and simple, but these fiddling around with bits of fairing like this, it's so easy to break little tabs or whatever. It's a bit of a nightmare. So you've got to take it really carefully with this. But anyway, the instructions are saying pull the back out first to release that. And again, it feels like you're going way against what you should be doing here to do that. And then, okay, it's sort of on its way. How on earth? I just really think it'd be so much easier if the whole of this was off. I'm not sure how we do that. Might have to have a little look, see if I can think about that. Well, the problem seems to be that I just can't get this red part of the fairing moving enough to get this free. And I don't know if you can see, but there's a little screw here that just attaches this part on there. So I'm thinking I'll just take those 2 screws out, and hopefully that will make this move a little bit freer, so I can get at this part, which is the bit that I want off, without breaking anything. So these are a couple of screws that weren't mentioned in the instructions, but I just think they're going to make life easier. Just looking at that. Again, I don't want to lose any clips or anything as a result of doing this. Let's see if I can do it by hand now. Right, there we go, there's one out. Nothing I'm going to lose off the back there. Okay, that's all together looser now. That should work much better. Right, let's keep these safe. And something I'm doing is just taking a little pick of that, like that, on my phone, so that I know that screw came from there, as it's not in the instructions. Right, and same out on this side as well. Just think that's something the instructions should have added, an extra step to remove those screws as well. And it's just going to make that a little bit easier. There we go. Okay, so let's have a little look now then. So this is all nice and loose. Make sure I'm not going to unclip anything untoward there. This is nice and loose now. Make sure that goes on the top there and it comes back. That rear bit's out. This bit, just trying to see where it's clipped down here. It feels like there's a clip under here somewhere. Maybe in the bottom part down here somewhere. I reckon there's a clip just under the bottom here, so I'm just going to gently pull that. Yeah, there we go, it's away. So that is now free, I think. Wow, now that was quite an effort to get that off, I must say, and well, a bit of a nuisance because I know it's going to be a pain to get it back on again. But okay, so I'll take the other side off then, and then I can start to actually apply the heat shield in the appropriate areas. And how nice to actually see the back of my engine. My OCD is saying that I should give that a good clean before I put it back together. So same on the other side here then, so much for me taping that on there because that's got to come off, so I might as well just move that over there for now. I don't think I'm going to lose it. This is nice and loose here again. Make sure there's nothing going to drop away. And this then is ready to come off here. It sort of tucks up inside this slot at the back. Okay. Yeah, there's a little tab inside there. I won't be able to show you it, but there's a little tab and you basically have to push this sort of down to free it. So I'm just going to, there you go, like that. See the way I push that down and then suddenly it becomes free. There you go. So there's that one off. And in fact, I'll get the camera and I'll show you the tab I was talking about if I can find it. Oh, there it is. Can you see that? I'll just move the camera in. So it's this tab here we're talking about. You see, it's just a piece of metal welded on the frame that points downwards. So when you're taking that bit off, you need to push it down to free that up. Getting that back on again is going to be a nightmare. Okay, so we're getting our way through. I'm now on number 23 of 33, and the last sort of 10 are all about, or 8 or so, are just about the reverse procedure of what we just did. So all that so far is really just so we can get at the bits that we need to put the tapes on, which are the engine covers, the under seat part, etc. So first thing to do is clean up all these. These have got a little bit of oil and goo on, so a little bit of rag and white spirit just to clean that off just before I start sticking these on. Okay, so when I say rag and white spirit, of course, any sort of degreaser that you might have around the garage will do. In fact, I haven't got any white spirit handy, so I'm just going to use some meths that just get some of this gunk off. If I can even get the childproof lid off, which I possibly can't. There we go. I told you I was a technical numpty. I can't even get the lid off the bottle. Unbelievable. Right, okay. Give these a good old wipe and get all the rubbish off. Okay, one, good as new. Gunky. Great thing about meths is it evaporates off really quickly, so you're left with a really clean, dry bit of plastic to stick the heat shields to. Same with under the seat, don't want to lose anything from here, any clips. And there goes one. Right, same procedure. Basically just getting any gunk off the bottom of the seat, just so the pads adhere nicely. Excellent. Right, now to the fun part. Okay, so when I say fun part, all I mean is actually sticking the various bits of heat shield into the right spot on the, well, look at that, by chance it happens to fit perfectly, onto the relevant bits of the bits of fairing, etc. I've taken off. So I'll just crack on with that. Or literally, it's there's some pictures here in the manual that shows you where they stick on. I don't know if you can see that, just around the heat shield parts and then under the seat. And then it's a simple matter of putting the bike all back together again. So I'm going to crack on with these just to show you what they look like. Let's find a smaller bit. I mean, it's like a silvered finish stuff, and then what feels like a fiberglass matting with an adhesive back. So it's just peel off the back and stick it in place. So I won't bore you doing all that. I'll just crack on with it. And either you'll come back and it'll be done, or I'll speed it up, or some YouTube-y way of doing it. Right, why don't I start with the easy bit first, the seat. There's one there. Got it. Goes on there. And there's that and there. Right, that's fairly straightforward about how the seat works. Okay, yeah, should help. And then these side panels. This one is going to go on there. Okay, so that's where they go. I'll get sticking. So just peeling this first one off here now, you can see, look, it is actually like a carbon or fiberglass type matting behind there. And I think what I'll do, because this is a big part, won't pull it all off. I'll just put the first bit on and do it in that way, if that makes sense. So that's going to go over there. It's one of these things, you get one go at it. I'll only push the top bit on until I've got the rest aligned. Off she comes. Well, it's a nice fit actually, it goes on there rather nicely. There you go, so that's the first bit on. That was quite a complicated shape. Now I have to say that went on there really nicely and easily, and the glue on there is amazing. It feels really well stuck on there. I think that's moving anywhere, so I won't bore you showing you how to fit the rest because they're all going to be much the same, but I'll carry on, and then it's time to put the bike back together. So here we go then, I'm about halfway through. I've done the seat and I've put the complicated bit on here. I've just got these bits to do on this engine cover. The only reason I just sort of stopped at this point to show you is actually these are going on much easier than I thought. I thought these were going to be really difficult to put on, but actually the glue that's been used does allow you to do a bit of repositioning. So they've just not been hard at all to put on. So no fear on that. There's so far the hardest bit of the whole procedure has been getting those fairings off, as you saw. Putting them back on, I'm not looking forward to, I have to say. But actually positioning these is a sort of a piece of cake. I'll show you. Look, just pop it on there, and then you can sort of squeeze it into position. And if you make an error, like I have there, you can just pull it back off again. It is really rather good like that. And you can tuck it under the tab there. It's really quite pliable stuff, look. And on we go. Even around that little corner at the end, push it right into the creases. It goes on there really nicely. So well done the kit for that bit. It's really easy to put the stickers in. Right, so there we go. Just about a 10-minute job to stick those on. It wasn't hard at all. In fact, it was much easier than it looks. So yeah, really pleased with those. Just got to put the bike back together now. That might be a bit more tricky. Okay, so putting the bike back together, of course, is just the reverse of what I did taking it apart. So having shown you that in detail, I won't bother to show you me putting back together again. They'll know about be some swearing involved. So I'll just crack on. I'll put the bike back together if I can, and then afterwards I'll tell you how tricky it was. And then what I should really do is take the bike for a test ride. Right, I'm halfway through putting the bike back together again, and I have to say I needn't worry, because actually putting these fairings back on, no problem at all. It's just the trick is just to slide that little lug on the bottom first, bit of a twist, and on she popped. And the same with this side. I haven't got the screws in here yet, but it's all gone back together really nicely and easily. Okay, so there we have it. Needn't worry at all. The bike went back together, absolutely no problems whatsoever. All I've got to do now, put some fuel back in her, and then take her for a test ride. So I've been riding the bike for a good half an hour or so now. It's an absolutely beautiful winter's day out here, but managed to get the bike up to temperature, even though it's only actually 6 degrees centigrade out here at the moment, so it's not a warm day by any means. But the bike is up to proper temperature, 86 degrees it's saying, which is roughly about its normal temperature at this time of year on a day like this. And I have to say, I can't feel much in the way of heat coming from the seat. Normally I would feel a reasonable amount, and I would say, I mean, I didn't expect to notice any difference on this first ride on such a cold day anyway, but it does feel like there is a cut down in heat emanating out of the seat, so that's a good sign as far as the heat shield's concerned. I guess I won't properly know how well it's performed until I get to ride it on a hot day in the summer, but it is now, as I say, of course, winter, so I won't know for a good 6-8 months how properly successful it's been. But it does feel superficially on this first ride with the bike at proper temperature, it does feel like it's cutting down, and I've no reason to believe it should do anything other than cut down the heat, because it has got that sort of fiberglass matting, it's got the sort of tin foil reflector stuff, and also those thermal imaging pictures that I showed you seem quite conclusive as well, so I'm pretty pleased with it. If you do want one of these kits, as I say, they come, you buy them online, they come from the US. If you go to the website, I think it's panigaleheatshield.com, you can also buy the space there, the little throttle spacer that I mentioned, and I think you can get a discount on those if you get them from that website, I think. The guy there that operates the outfit is called Kevin. I've been exchanging some emails with him, and you know, he's not paying me to say good things or anything about his products. You know, he owes me nothing, I owe him nothing. I'm just a Panigale fan, as you know, and I absolutely love this bike, and anything I can do to make little improvements I'll do, and I just think these products, the Throttle Spacer has been a game changer as far as slow speed handling is concerned, and now this heat shield is worth a go. So yeah, if you do want to buy one of those, if you use the code Missenden in capitals, MISSENDEN, Kevin has very kindly said he'll give you a discount as well, so I don't get anything out of that, there's no kickback in it for me, as I say, it's just purely I think they're good products if you're a Panigale owner. Okay, that's it for this time. Hope that's been of some interest to you. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my ride once I'm out of the way of this traffic. Look forward to speaking to you next time. Until then, this has been the Missenden Flyer. Cheerio.